Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
Nope, my name is Mike Apiorski. I come to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most, here on The Rundown. 2A views, conservative news. And Craig, we both look like it's Monday.
It is Monday. It has been a weekend. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Good weekend,
Yeah.
but it's been a weekend.
Not a good weekend. It was okay. It started okay and fizzled out. So,
Well, mine kind of just it was actually pretty consistent. Got a lot of busy stuff around the house that I needed to get done,
Yep.
but also had the opportunity to relax and hang out with some friends.
Similar. I started out as a good weekend. Had a good Oktoberfest event that I went to, and then the Mets gave it up yesterday. So
Well, they are the Mets.
Mets got a Met.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. What was interesting was the weather here was just phenomenal. It wasn't too hot. It wasn't too cool. It wasn't too windy. It was actually just right. In fact, it reminded me. Maybe it reminded me of that meme that you posted last week where you said, "Oh, look at this nice springy type weather," acting like you didn't just try to kill us.
Yep. Yeah, I was gonna say we got the same thing here. All we had to do was give up. I think it was 101 deaths and $73 trillion worth of damage, something like that. But it's actually been really nice out.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Hey, let's go ahead and before we get started, let's go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsors.
Yeah, let's say hi to our good friends over at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net, hitmanindustries.net. Odds are if you got yourself an AR in the past 5 years or so, you probably got one of their barrels already and don't even know it. But now you can buy direct, get your own barrel from them for your own build or replace the one in the rifle you have. Hitmanindustries.net. Let's say hi to the good folks fighting the fight behind enemy lines, the California Republican Assembly. Please reach out to them if you can and assist in any way possible. And then, of course, if you're looking for the best in tactical gear, the best in combat gear, go to uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. These are the folks that help bring us to you. So, and they're hoping that we will bring you to them, so that you'll check out their websites. By the way, it's in the description to this program. Check them out. I know you'll like what you see, and when you do, go ahead and spend some money with them, donate some money to them, or just let them know that the folks over at The Rundown sent you. Also, please make sure that you like, share, subscribe, and encourage your friends to do the same. Help us beat the algorithms by making sure that, that your friends are partaking in the conversation. So do it. Do it now.
Do it.
All right. Let's go ahead and let's get into today's news. You remember the conversation way back in the day when they first introduced the Obama phone? Well, now there's a Biden phone. Okay, the Obama phone were the free phones that were being handed out by the Obama administration. Well, now there are Biden phones. There's only one problem. The Biden phones are only going to illegal border crossers. That's right. Illegal aliens who are coming into the country have received around 255,000 of these cell phones where, they get free minutes, they get free Wi-Fi. And I guess, now, Mike, the one thing that I can guess about this that might make sense is that then when these people disappear into the country and decide they're not going to show up for their court date, at least they can possibly, if they think about it, track their cell phones.
Yep, Craig, only if they're strapping them to their ankles, because you could leave your cell phone somewhere. You can send it to somewhere else, but or give it to someone else. But yeah, that would make sense. I mean, technology based. It's just a matter of here you're giving a $1,000 iPhone to somebody that's been stringing two cans together with a stick, and or with a string, and now all of a sudden you want them to hold on to an iPhone. So I don't know how that's going to work. It was actually last night, Craig. The TV commercial was. It's that cute AT&T girl and LeBron James, not the GOAT, by the way. They were talking about everybody gets a discount on an iPhone. Well, now I know why, because the Biden administration is probably buying them at full price and enabling Apple to give them away at a little bit of a discount.
I would not be surprised, in fact, if that was in fact the case. But I guess when I look at this, I keep thinking to myself, why would you go through a legal process to become a citizen when it can take you years, when it can cost you tens of thousands of dollars, and you could once again have to wait in line for years, when you could literally just walk across the border, and the government is going to be providing you with all of these resources. When the president says, "I'm not inviting people here, I'm telling them not to come," it's like saying, "Don't come. Don't come. Stay away. We have secure borders."
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly right. That's not working. Craig, just looking on the Apple site where we're sitting here, it looks like the cheapest phone is still $600 or $700 for one of those weird SE models, the older refurbs. So, that's just a ridiculous wasted spending of money. At least Governor DeSantis, Captain Florida, only gave away $10 McDonald's gift cards.
Well, he only gave away $10 gift cards, but at least he had a purpose behind it. He was feeding them, and then he was working on getting them to a place where the government would be more friendly to their or provide them with greater resources, since they are in fact sanctuary states or cities.
Oh yeah. Listen, I figured it out, Craig. He did the whole "Who wants McDonald's? Who wants McDonald's?" Oh, it's on that restaurant over there that's themed like an airplane restaurant. Just go ahead and get on board.
Yeah, good luck with that one. It worked out real well, didn't it? Not so much. All right, let's move on to another fanciful idea of the left. We all know Stacey Abrams, the president of Georgia. Well, she already put her foot in her mouth not too long ago when she said that, the heartbeat that you hear in the womb is not really a heartbeat. It's manufactured in order to make it so that you don't believe that it is a real, in order to make women believe that it's a real person. But what we now know is, science has already told us that is in fact not the case. Well, now she's coming up with a new one, Mike. And in this new one, she's basically saying, oh yeah, no, it's a fallacy that we don't know exactly when pregnancy starts. Well, she's right, but the problem is I don't think it starts when she thinks it starts. She says it starts when the mother says it starts, which is pretty much kind of her thing. She's like, well, when the woman and her doctor get together and talk, then whenever they say it's a pregnancy, it's a pregnancy.
Craig, I'm pretty sure, just from my own eyes, that Stacey Abrams has no idea how a pregnancy probably starts, let alone when it starts. Betting there's not a lot of practical experience there. Just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. The ridiculousness that comes out of this woman's mouth. Does she really think that when she says these things that it's going to increase her odds of winning anything in the state of Georgia besides maybe a jackass contest? These are ridiculous comments she's coming out with. This is flat earther borderline kind of nonsense. Okay, this is just the most ridiculous crap we've ever heard, and she continues. She makes AOC look smart, and that's hard for Alex to do that. But she is. How is she even in Georgia? The only reason she left in Georgia is because she can't figure out how to get out. That's probably it.
Well, but what's funny is she says, first of all, this always should be a decision made by a woman and her doctor, and viability as determined by the doctor should be taken into consideration. Not so she says that abortion should be available up to viability, but then she says, well, the doctor should determine, and it should be a consideration. So in other words, the fact that the baby is viable is not in and of itself a thing of this is a life that needs to be protected. That's just a consideration.
A moron. I mean, that's what she is. Yeah. I mean, the more you explain what she says, I think everybody else out here is just shaking their heads, going, "What is wrong with this woman?"
And the worst part is she said this on Fox News. right? So
Yeah, right.
she's gone on Fox News because she's losing ground. We know that she's losing ground amongst black voters. She's losing ground
Yep.
amongst Democrat voters. And so she's already pivoted and is trying to talk about job creation. And now she gets into an abortion discussion and she's trying to make it sound like she supports, limiting abortion if the baby's viable. But then she goes off and says something like, yeah, no, it's just a consideration. It's like, woman, how dumb can you be? And I firmly stand by that. How stupid can she be?
She's extra dumb. Craig, she's so far hook, line, and sinker, bought and paid for by the Democratic Party that she'll say anything that they tell her to say.
Right.
And I think she's probably the testing grounds for stupid Democrat things. Like normally they pick up a phone and they poll things where they're like, hey, we got something, we don't know how it's going to play out. Give it to Abrams. Let's see what happens. and I think that's what happens with her.
Because I can't believe, I will put it to you this way. Either she is stupid or she thinks the rest of us are stupid.
I think it's both.
Probably so.
I really do. I think it's both.
Would not doubt it. Would not doubt it. Would not doubt it one bit. Not at all.
Yep.
All right, moving right along. Now that concealed carry in the state of California is for the most part shall issue. And when I say shall issue now, one of the things that they've done in a lot of places is they've not only have they increased the number of sensitive places, or at least they're trying to, they're also looking at the good moral character and determining whether or not being a legal gun owner is in fact enough. But they've also gone through and created and made it incredibly expensive to be able to get a concealed carry permit. Now in California, not too recently, the most you could charge was $100, and that, by the way, included your background check fee. Well, now they've removed the cap and they're allowing entities to charge whatever the heck they want. And so you've got LAPD, the Los Angeles Police Department. Now keep in mind, in all of Los Angeles County, there were less than 200 concealed carry permits in the second most populous county in the entire country. Well, now they're charging. So now the city, which hadn't been doing these before, the city is now going to be charging, check this out, $268 to apply. This is to apply for a concealed carry permit. $268. And oh, by the way, that does not include the life scan, the background check that goes with it. And the life scan they want to require you to get is like $300. So basically what they're doing, Mike, is they're pricing the average person, the person who lives in a community that is high crime, low income and high crime. They are basically pricing them out of the opportunity to be able to exercise their right to keep and bear arms.
It's remember, Craig, it's not a penalty. It's not a tax. It's just a fee. So
right.
They can try and get around the law. Remember, it's just a fee. You like you said, they rescinded the law on the amount of money they could charge. It's clearly meant to be a deterrent for those that wish to apply. We just saw what happened in New York with the judge there striking down the majority of their new law that went into effect to try and discourage people from becoming concealed permit holders. Los Angeles is doing the same thing. This will just take good people like SAF or FPC to go out and file a lawsuit and get this overturned. It's horrible that we have to do that. There should be penalties for government bodies that enact these unconstitutional laws. But this is something that is clearly meant to continue to violate your Second Amendment rights.
Not a doubt in my mind that is their particular goal. Their goal is to restrict people. And the worst part is that this is utilizing finances and economics. So basically, you're basically saying poor people, you don't have a right to keep and bear arms. You don't have a right to exercise your right. This is akin to a poll tax, is what it is. And mind you, in California, you have to reapply every 2 years. So I don't even know what the renewals fees are. California, once again, even though our original fee is relatively high, our renewal fee is not crazy. But once again, the fact that we have to do it every 2 years can make it quite expensive comparative to a bunch of other states or most other states.
Yeah, no, for sure, absolutely right. This Craig, how long do you think this takes? How long do you think this takes to get on somebody's docket? Let's say that.
Well, it's in Southern California, so hopefully they can get it on Benitez's. I think every judge, every
Right.
Californian, everybody on the West Coast who's got a gun bill who's got a gun case is trying to get on his calendar. So if they're specifically trying to get on his calendar, it may take a while, but you got to figure someone's going to be filing a lawsuit here pretty soon.
Yeah. Yep. Hopefully soon.
And the
Very
worst part
soon.
is that once the lawsuit goes through and when we win, because we will win, the taxpayers there of the city of Los Angeles are going to be the ones who are going to wind up having to foot the bill. But in this case, I say, you know what? Y'all are the ones who put those guys in office to do this stuff, so you get what you get.
The next major Supreme Court case, Craig, I think includes firearms related, Second Amendment related. I think
Yeah.
includes some sort of a penalty. Even if it's civil, if it's sanction, censure, whatever it happens to be. I think there's something like that in there because you can see what's going on now,
Yeah.
and if that continues to be the way that people are doing things around the country, the way that municipalities are doing things around the country and states, I think then we see maybe some federal type of preemption laws. Right.
Anyway, man, look, in the end, what gets me about this whole thing is if we were doing this at the polls, right? If we were saying you had
Yeah.
to pay a tax in order to be able to vote, and the people would be losing their minds. If we said that, oh, we're going to jack up the fees and require you to pay this huge tax in order to get an abortion, once again, they would lose their minds. But here it is, a constitutionally enumerated right. This is in a state, by the way, that's trying to make it so that you can, change your gender for free.
Right.
You can get free. They're trying to make it so you can get free abortions, right? Pay for out-of-state people to come to California and get abortions. But
Right.
yet and still, we want to tax people out of the ability to exercise a constitutionally enumerated right.
You're right. You said that this inhabilitates the individuals that don't have the money, the poor people, the poorer people, the less
Right.
fortunate people, from having firearms, and that means in a large part minorities. So which just goes to show, folks, listen, the Democrat Party cares so little about their minority voters that they're throwing them under the bus. They're like, oh, listen, they'll just do what we tell them to do if they want us to keep sending them checks. So,
Right. Well, because
if
their
we're gonna
goal
tell,
is their goal is control, Mike. And if
yes,
they know that if they can control the purse strings, if they can control your ability, if they can't keep you from
yep,
doing something because they can't make it illegal, they can price it so that you can't afford to do it.
that's right, exactly right.
And that, by the way, is what tax policy is largely about. Tax policy is less about raising revenue and it's more about controlling people's behavior.
Yep, exactly.
Not saying, just saying.
Just saying.
All right. CNN finally gets it. Now it's interesting that this is an analysis that CNN has come up with that, quite frankly, we in the gun rights community recognized it as soon as we read the decision in New York Rifle and Pistol. We knew exactly what this would mean or should mean for gun control. And now CNN, a writer over at CNN, has finally recognized exactly how this decision or the impact that this decision is going to have on Second Amendment cases. And he goes through here, and the only thing that I don't like about this, well, there's a lot of things I don't like about it, but the most interesting thing about this piece in this conversation is the fact that he talks to the head of National Association for Gun Rights, NAGR, which is basically, well, I'm not even going to get into that group, but not exactly a legitimate gun rights group. I'll just put it that way. And I don't say that about many groups. I will say that about them. I do feel very comfortable in saying that about that particular group, but that's just me. But yeah, recognizing now, and they're finally getting the idea that that in this case, they pretty much wrote how you're supposed to look at Second Amendment cases now, and did it in such a way that so many of these cases now are going to be overturned and should be, if the standard is used, should rule in the favor of gun owners or the people who choose to own guns.
Craig, I saw this and I was like, oh, CNN, right? Keep going. Well, let's see what the bias is in it. Let's see what they try and spin, and read it and was like, okay, aside from a couple of a terminology, some wording they used, and then of course using the National Association for Gun Rights there, I was like, well, this is a pretty decent plain language analysis for those that have no idea what's occurred. It just shows me again. I know we've talked about this once or twice in the past couple of weeks. This is the crack at CNN. We're seeing a crack in the liberal armor there. We've seen one or two things, three things now. CBS again, some late night talk show hosts starting to turn on Biden, and I mean, I see it. I see that they're finally coming around. They're not going to end up being even 50-50 on policy, but you never saw this stuff before, not even 3-4 months ago.
Oh, no, you are 100% correct. This is brand new in terms of, well, part of the thing is under new leadership, they are actively trying to take a more, or at least they say they're trying to take a more unbiased look. The challenge is that the way in which they still look at stuff, many of them don't have, many of their reporters still don't have relationships with people outside of their own ideological spectrum. So in many, and the other thing that the problem is that even the stories that they choose to report on are still tend to be left leaning topics and whatnot. So a lot of it's not going to change until they start changing the people who are appearing, the people who are writing, the people who are anchoring the shows. You're not going to see a change until you start to see a change there. What you're going to get is you're going to get their version of what they think moderate or unbiased is. They're going to go back to pretending like they used to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's like the new boss buying the company and say, all right, we're all Raiders fans now. We're all Raiders fans. Yeah, we're all Raiders fans. But you still show up wearing that silly Cowboys jersey every once in a while. You just forget. That's what I am, right? That's what you do.
Oh, you mean, the 4-1 Dallas Cowboys?
I'm sorry, did they win 101 games this year? Because that's what the Mets did. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Game, because it is a game. It is not a sport. Baseball is not a sport.
Dallas hasn't won 101 anything since their creation. So,
well, first of all, there's not nearly that many games in one season. But don't worry. Don't worry. The Mets will do the Mets. Okay.
Listen. Don't get me wrong. Mets got a Met. Mets got a Met.
Mets got a Met.
Mets got a Met. But I don't know. Maybe you guys should play more instead of practicing. Maybe that would work better for you. Maybe you get some more wins in. I don't know.
Maybe so. We shall see. We shall see. Let's go ahead and move on to our parting shots today. We got a few. We got some interesting ones, to say the least. The first ones are going to be for our pro Second Amendment advocates. You guys are going to love this one. Rule number 1. Okay, it's important that we save money for retirement, right? Right. We need to make sure that and this is the big question. So the big question here that's being asked is, are you saving money for retirement? And the answer is yes. Yesterday, I bought a new gun. Okay, well, that is protecting your future, but I don't think it's the future they're referring to when they're talking about retirement. What do you think, Mike?
I'm investing in precious metals, and
there you
polymers.
Go. There you go. Well, you know what? Here's the one thing I was telling somebody. I said, the one thing I can't say is investing in firearms. First of all, firearms do a relatively good job of holding on to their value. So if you want to hedge against inflation, buy a gun and ammo.
Yep. Agreed. Yep.
Both of them actually do. They definitely do not depreciate the way the way many of our retirement accounts have depreciated.
That's right. Yeah. In fact, under this administration, their value has gone up.
All right. Hey, all right. So this next one, Mike, I'm going to go ahead and let you read this one for the folks.
All right. Let's see. It shows a picture here of a Ute. It looks like a young Ute, like a 18-year-old, 19-year-old. I'm going to guess. And it says Houston couple buys a bunch of empty gun cases from military surplus website, only to discover not all cases were empty. The story of wayward M16s. And you know the story, folks. They showed up with 10 M16s in these cases, 5 per case. They got 2 of them. And then off to the right here is a picture of the pastor here with his head down, and he says, Jesus, I see what you've done for other people, and I want that for me.
Oh, that is good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, we got a couple more.
That was
got a couple
prayer
more.
verse, by the way. That was my prayer verse.
Everybody talks trash about Donald Trump and the MAGA hats, right? They're always making fun of the red MAGA hats. But have you noticed? And this is an image of the Flash. It says, "I've looked everywhere, and nobody is wearing Build Back Better hats."
Nope.
I wonder why that is. Nope. But then, Mike, I saw a Build Back Better hat. And is it just me, or does that look like a poop emoji?
That's the poop emoji. I used to think it was like chocolate soft serve yogurt.
Well, that's what it was supposed to be. That's what they meant it to be, and people just turned it into the poop emoji.
Oh, so I was right.
You were 100% correct. It was supposed to be soft serve ice cream.
Well, that didn't work out so well for them.
Did not work out so well for them. All right, folks, it's about that time. But before we go, we got to do one more shout out to our sponsors.
One more round. Here we go. Hitmanindustries.net, hitmanindustries.net. Check them out for all your AR barrel needs. The California Republican Assembly fighting the fight behind the enemy lines. So make sure you look them up. And, of course, if you want some awesome tactical gear, combat gear, go to uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. Those are our sponsors. Please visit them, spend some money with them, and tell them that the guys over at The Rundown sent you. With that, our time is up for today. We very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will see you tomorrow on Taco Tuesday.
Tacos.